Man, we back. Now today, man, we got a funny video. Now, back in the day, it was like a couple months ago, I was gonna do a video entitled The Black Conservative Hustle. And in that video, I was gonna give you a tutorial, a manual, a guide to follow in case you wanna hop on YouTube and get rich, cash in on the black conservative hustle, build a massive YouTube channel with a bunch of white folks, a bunch of white Republicans sending you cash apps, sending you super chats like the Brandon Tatums, the Candace Owens of the world. I was gonna give y'all the game on how to position yourself as a so-called expert on black affairs and black politics that you can market and sell to the white community, mainly the white conservative, white Republican community, right? I'm telling you, I told you, that's one of the easiest ways to get rich, bro. You're gonna be in a mansion within like 24 months. You're gonna have a brand new Ferrari in like 36 months. You're gonna be living like a king in about 56 months. I'm telling you, the black conservative hustle is the real deal. And I told y'all, I have the talent and the charisma. If I wanted to, I could go into the black conservative hustle myself because I understand how to mess with these white folk. But anyways, I'm gonna be reviewing a video from Pan-Africanism Strikes Back. Now, I don't know why he calls himself that because he's really a black conservative. He's an American patriot. He's a good old American boy. You know what I mean? Love George Washington, love Thomas Jefferson. I don't know why he calls himself Pan-Africanism Strikes Back because Pan-Africanism would be seen as a enemy combatant to everything those men stood for. As you can see, the brother is very confused. He's all over the place. I'm going to keep it respectful. I'm not going to go into his background and his upbringing that may play a role in his psychology. We're going to keep it respectful and keep it about geopolitics. But anyways, let's get into it, man. Now, I don't understand why Ibrahim Traore just provoked such a reaction from the Western media, from so-called Western conservatives. I don't understand why. Even some Western liberals as well. I don't really understand why he in particular is who they got their eyes on. It's just weird. I don't understand why. It's just, I don't know. They just fascinated by the brother, But anyways, it recently came out that after meetings with civil society leaders, traditional leaders, religious leaders, and a national council that took place in the Capitol, it was decided that Ibrahim Traore would stay in power until 2029. And I'm telling you, bro, that just set the Western media on fire. Now, keep in mind, there's already presidents in Africa that's been in power since goddamn 1982, 1990, 1969. But the Western media, they don't got a problem with those boys. They don't got a problem with those guys. They can come to Paris, come to Washington. It's all good. But Ibrahim Traore stayed until 2029. They can't believe it. They hopping on their media publications talking about the never-ending reign of Ibrahim Traore. The Burkina Faso military government extended its dictatorial regime. Bro, you know how that shit go. But anyways, man, let's jump into some news on the ground and see what's happening after it was found out that Ibrahim Traore is going to be in power for a little while longer. Run the footage.
On May 25, representatives from the 13 regions of Burkina Faso gathered together to decide on a new time frame for Ibrahim Traore's mandate. At first, rumors broke out that Traore's time in office would be extended by 3 years. But Burkinabe people quickly mobilized to express their disagreement. I spoke with a few on site.
Attendez 10 ou 5 comme ça. Sinon, moins que ça, nous n'attendons pas ça.
Mais on dirait qu'ils ont choisi ce que les populations ne veulent pas. Donc les gens veulent que ça soit 10 ou 5 ans comme ça. Donc c'est pour cela que les foules attendent de tourner comme ça qu'ils ne sont pas d'accord. Voilà.
Et pourquoi est-ce que les populations veulent 10 ans?
Parce qu'on voit que dans 3 ans, ne serait-ce que Ibrahim Traore ne peut pas faire ses projets. C'est trop court.
Voilà, mais je vois d'autres qui disent qu'eux veulent 3 ans ou 5 ans comme ça. Mais nous, peuple burkinabé, on n'est pas prêt pour ça. Ce que nous voulons prononcer ça jusqu'à 10 ans et renouvelable. Parce que les années passées, on avait eu des présidents, mais un président comme celui-là, on n'a pas encore eu depuis la mort de Thomas Sankara.
In the end, the decision was changed to grant Traore 5 more years and to change his title from President of the Transition of Burkina Faso to President of Burkina Faso.
Ce qui est intéressant dedans aussi, 5 ans, il peut être dans sa tenue. Et puis, voilà, il n'est plus le président de la transition et puis il peut présenter à l'élection.
C'est le deuxième Sankara qui est là. Depuis l'indépendance, on n'a eu que 2 présidents au Burkina Faso. C'est Thomas Sankara et puis Ibrahim Traore. Le reste là-bas, moi je ne le connais pas.
Listen, They would have had a goddamn aneurysm down in Paris and in Washington if my man stayed for 10 more years, man. Them folks was outside the goddamn palace. They was like, listen, we want 10 more years. You heard them on the video. They were like, 10 ans, bro. Listen, they would have had an aneurysm. They would have lost their mind. You know, he's only staying for 5. They wanted 10 though. You know, they wanted 10 whole years. Y'all would have lost y'all whole goddamn mind. But anyways, back to this masterclass in black conservative media. I'm going to review a video by Black Conservative Strikes Back, Brandon Tucker. You know, I gave you a new name, bro. You know, I gave you a new name. You know, I snatched that Pan-Africanism off your shit. Yeah, Black Conservative Strikes Back. You know, he's giving his thoughts on the situation. And I'm going to come in and out of my commentary. Let's go.
This guy is not a statesman. This guy is a strong man, nothing more. He doesn't have the best interests of his people at heart. And like I continue to say, but every day you get African dudes up here lying, talking about, oh, you don't know what you're talking about. Bro, I know a damn dictator when I see one. You ain't got to be a genius to know what they do. And they always make up an excuse for why they can't have democratic elections. But what I also know is a bunch of bums will defend Traore, but then they'll try to criticize Paul Kagame. I see Traore laying no infrastructure for anything that's going to take Burkina Faso into the future.
All right, we back. Now, this is why I say the brother is all over the place, right? So in the same breath, he denigrates and minimizes President Traore, right? You know, we got to give the brother his actual title. He's not the interim president anymore. He's no longer the president of the transition. He is now the official president, head of state, you know, chief commander of the armed forces, President Ibrahim Traore. He's going to denigrate him and then in the same breath, venerate Paul Kagame. Paul Kagame has been in power since I was 5 years old, okay? Since I was about 5 years old, he's been in the seat of power. He was a military man just like Ibrahim Traore. But if you ask me, I think the real reason why he loves Paul Kagame is that everybody knows that Paul Kagame was trained in Washington, D.C. He's a darling of the West. You know, this guy, you know, Pan-African, no, my fault. Black Conservative Strikes Back. He champions any black heads of state that are darlings of the West, that capitulate to the West. Just last week, he did a video bigging up William Ruto, who went to the White House and sat in the seat like a goddamn child going on a school field trip. So, you know, any black man that capitulates and bends over for the West, this dude is going to sing your praises. So I already understand what's up with that. But my thing is, find an ideology and stick to it, bro. Stick to it, man. You're an American patriot, Pan-Africanist, but, you know, you love the West and Paul Kagame and William Ruto, but you hate Ibrahim Traore at the same time, and you want democratic elections, but you love military regimes that are darlings of the West. Like, I don't know what's up with this dude. But then he says that he does not see Ibrahim Traore getting involved in any projects for the betterment of his people. But months back, I did a video. I forget what it was called, but I spoke about, take a look up on the screen. The construction of the first gold refinery begins in Burkina Faso. Now, at the time that I did a video on it, I was actually critical of Ibrahim Traore. I was probably a little too hard on the brother because I think they said that the refinery is going to be able to produce close to 1,000 pounds of gold per day. And I had made the comparison with the top gold refiners in the world, and I had seen that the number one gold refiner in the world does about 10,000 pounds of gold per day, right? So I was like, listen, man, the black man got to produce 20,000 pounds of gold per day. That was my position, right? So I congratulated the brother, but I was like, listen, we got to shoot for more. We got to increase the production. That was my position. Whereas in this black conservative bullshit, listen, this is how you get the black conservative hustle, right? You got to make it seem like the sky is falling. This is a dictator. He's not doing shit. He's massacring civilians. He's going to get into that later too. He's genociding his people. Bro, I'm telling you, this is the black conservative hustle. The only thing holding Black Conservative Strikes Back is the fact that he has to change his name. That's what's stopping you from getting the money, bro. I'm telling you, the white folks gonna love your shit, bro. They gonna love you like Brandon Tatum, Candace Owens, all that shit. But you gotta change your name because when they see Pan-Africanism, they gonna think, oh damn, he's one of them, you know, black men, you know, that loves his people and shit. You know, we can't fuck with that. But you gotta change it to Black Conservative Strikes Back, and I'm telling you, bro, your life gonna change. You're gonna be able to trade in that bullshit you driving, and you're gonna be able to ride clean for real. You're gonna be able to really have nice things, give your wife some really nice things for Christmas, all type of shit. Your kids gonna have the nicest gifts. I'm telling you, the black conservative hustle is real. Let's continue.
I was going to give Traore to July to hold those democratic elections because that's what he said he was going to do. The guy's entire claim to power was that he was better able to handle the security situation in Burkina. The boy didn't have power for damn near a year. How come he can't secure the country enough to have a democratic election? There's going to have to be there's only one or two answers to that. Either Traore is not qualified or Traore has never intended to relinquish power.
All right, we back. Now, another aspect of the black conservative hustle, when you are trying to market yourself to a Western audience, right? You have to use the buzzwords, right? Democratic elections, human rights, authoritarian regime. You notice, I've said it before on my channel, but when it comes to foreign policy, when it comes to Americans, the conservative and the liberal, they're on the same team. They use the same playbook. Listen, but when it comes to international affairs, they start talking like the goddamn bleeding heart liberals. We need the democratic elections for the people, the Burkina Faso people, the democratic elections, the authoritarian regime. We need to uphold democracy. But listen, when it comes to domestically, they big and bad. They talking they shit, pumping their chest, but they become soft, bleeding heart liberals when it comes to foreign policy. They're on the same team, bro. They're on the same team. Same team, man. Listen, that's why I don't get involved in that Democratic Republican bullshit. You know, this nigga sounding like Joe Biden over here, man. This nigga's a clown. And like I said, they going crazy, losing their mind over 5-year extension. Meanwhile, the people wanted 10 years. They was outside the goddamn palace. 10 ans. Listen, you heard what they said. They said 10 years, boy. And listen, they compromised and gave them 5. That 5-year extension was a compromise, you know? That was a compromise. Y'all still complaining. Y'all still crying. But anyways, let's jump into, take a look up on the screen. This young lady right here is actually also on the ground in Burkina Faso. And let's see what she had to say about it, because she actually lives in the city center where the meeting actually took place during the presidential extension. She said this past weekend was a hectic one in Ouagadougou, that's the capital. The equivalent of the Congress in Burkina Faso held a national seating to vote and determine whether the transitional government, as it is called, under Traore should be legitimized and given additional time in power. When the seating was going on, thousands of people descended on the location of where it was happening, which is about a 10-minute drive from my house. You could feel the tension in the air, the noise, and the people were ready to manually remove politicians from the seats. Somehow, news got out to the crowd that they were deliberating on giving Traore 3 more years, which from my and their vantage point is just not enough time considering the level of undoing and work that needs to be done. Then the people broke the barriers and said they're going in. The police did not beat, spray, arrest, or harm anybody because they really understood the people and they were able to neutralize the crowd by explaining that it was just a suggestion put on the floor. They calmed down and they said very loudly outside so everyone inside could hear that anyone who votes for 3 years or less must be trying to sabotage the country and working with imperialists under the table, and they will take a list of those who voted for that and drag them out of their car when they drive out to answer. So finally, as we held our breath, not sure if they were going to burn the Congress House or what, the elders, generals, and professors voted to officially make Ibrahim Traore the president of Burkina Faso. He has been legitimized and given 5 years to run the country. Now, if you listen to the Western media, they make it seem like Traore woke up on a random Saturday afternoon and signed a piece of paper and said, listen, I'm in the seat of power for the next 60 months and that's going to be that. Like they really make it sound crazy. Like like take a look up on the screen. Just look at the headline, right? The Burkina Faso junta extends the transition term by 5 years. No, they didn't say the Burkina Faso military government has been legitimized by a national consultation of elders, traditional leaders, and et cetera, et cetera. No, they said they extended the transition, and they got my man with the goddamn Pooh Shiesty mask on looking like a goddamn Memphis goon. Like the propaganda is insane out this motherfucker back. But anyway, let's continue.
Y'all Negroes say power to the people and don't even know the meaning, don't even grasp or fathom the meaning of that statement. The people have been stripped of power by this despot. Traore knows the truth. They talk about people getting killed in villages, and they're telling us that Traore's men are behind it. This guy is killing his opposition. And I promise you, listen, I'm going to put it out first. Within the next year, you will find out that Traore is committing genocide in Burkina Faso against opposition.
All right, we back. Now, this is already a dead issue. A few days after that report came out about the Burkina Faso army allegedly slaughtering and massacring civilians by the hundreds, the Burkina Faso government actually summoned the ambassadors of the UK and the United States to answer for their slanderous statements that were put out in the media. That was already a dead issue. I did a video on that also. Take a look up on the screen. Burkina Faso confronts the American and British ambassador. That video got about 18,000 views. Go check that out. The Ministry of Foreign Affairs had to summon them white boys to the presidential palace and told them, sit down, my boy. You know, sit down. We heard that dumb shit you was talking about in the media. And now that we have you here, you need to explain yourself. You know, so anyways, man, I already did a video deconstructing that entire report. Go check that video out also. The Western media attacks Ibrahim Traore. We discussed the background of that organization, the Human Rights Watch organization based in New York City. I believe the head of that organization is some random woman from Singapore who grew up in Australia. You know what I mean? But this black man is taking the word of a Singaporean, Australian, British, Asian woman as the gospel over his fellow black men. you know. But like I said, this is the black conservative hustle, you know, where the word of a woman who grew up in Australia is worth more than the black man's word. You know, this is the black conservative hustle. What the black man says don't mean shit. We taking the word of the goddamn Australian Singaporean woman. Listen, like I said, the black conservative hustle strikes back, man. Get your money, bro. Get your money. Like I said, change your name though. Change your name so the algorithm could really push your videos out to the targeted audience it's supposed to reach. But anyways, I want to go back and attack some of the statements that he made. Take a look up on the screen. Economically, the Traore administration has prioritized the revitalization of the nation's industries, particularly agriculture and mining, which are pivotal to Burkina Faso's growth. Initiatives have been launched to enhance productivity, foster innovation, and attract foreign investment, all while ensuring that the benefits are equitably shared among the people. Now, listen, it's a reason why Traore got the love of his people, bro. It's the reason why he's the most popular president in Africa, right? When he steps out, man, the folks be on him like he a rapper. You know what I'm saying? They be on him like he's a goddamn NBA player when he step out in the street. It's a reason for that. It's not just because my homie, you know, be getting fly and fresh in the military uniform. It's because, listen, them folks love him for a good reason. You know, like I said, when he came to power, the first gold refinery began construction. The French been in the region for 100 years. Them niggas ain't build shit, ain't do shit. And to me, it's a no-brainer. Every African head of state, every black head of state, at the top of your economic agenda, you should be focused on the improvement of your agricultural sector and your mining sector. Because once you get those two sectors on lock, the money is going to be falling from the sky, bro. Nigga, you're just going to be falling on bags of cash everywhere you look. Nigga, the money just going to be an endless supply.
With just a couple of weeks remaining for the rainy season in Burkina Faso to commence, the Burkinabe transitional president, Captain Ibrahim Traore, has just impressed his people by handing over hundreds of agropastoral equipment and inputs to Burkinabe agricultural producers and peasant farmers in the villages. Captain Traore, who just a week ago stated that there's no need for Burkina Faso to import foodstuffs like wheat and rice, because the country has the potential to produce what can sufficiently cater for its population, has today on May 6, 2024, handed over a total of 400 farm tractors, 1,000 motorcycles, 710 motor pumps and other farm inputs to Burkina farmers in the rural areas, in what translates to his administration's move to facilitate them, in order to boost the country's agricultural production.
All right, we back. Now, going back to his extension in power, like I said before, he didn't wake up on a random Saturday afternoon and sign a piece of paper and said, I'm going to be in power for 60 months. No, it was a national consultation that included elders, civil society leaders, religious leaders, traditional leaders, etc., etc. One thing we don't understand is that the military governments in Mali, Burkina Faso, and Niger, they have the support and the backing of the traditional elders, the spiritual leaders. And we already know he has the minds and hearts of the people, especially the youth, especially the young people. Man, I'm telling you, them young folks, they love Traore. You know, I'm telling you, that's the most popular president in Africa right now. And if you want to be honest, he's probably the most popular president on the planet right now, if you want to be real. But these men are not maintaining their regimes by simply brute force or anything like that. They have the support of a large segment of the population, as well as a lot of powerful men who are very influential in society as well. Like, for example, when the president of Niger came to power, I think about a week or 2 weeks after he took power, he was seen pictured with the Emir of Kano State, you know, Emir Sanusi, as you can see. You know, now to us in the West, we don't understand the significance of these men. They don't teach us about these men. They teach us about Prince Charles and Prince Harry and Meghan Markle and all them stupid niggas. We don't learn about our African kings, our African monarchs, our African elites. They don't tell us about these men. Now, as you can see, Emir Sanusi, he comes from a genetic bloodline that goes back, you know, thousands of years, a royal family that goes back thousands of years from one of the oldest cities in West Africa. When you look at the history, these were some of the most powerful men on the continent in terms of political leadership. And of course, these bloodlines still exist today in a more traditional sense. Even when you look at the president of Mali, it's the same thing. He's got the backing of his traditional spiritual elders. And that's how it's always been with us throughout history. You had to have the backing of the people, the minds and hearts of the people, as well as the traditional spiritual elders as well in combination, right? So, you know, all this European, you know, democratic election, nigga, shut that stupid white boy shit up, nigga. And in fact, I dropped a video when I dropped that video, like 2 months ago, entitled The Biggest Weakness of Black Nations. And in that video, I spoke about how the biggest weakness that we have is we never get enough time to execute our plans, right? Whenever you have an administration, they never have enough time and power to actually execute upon their objectives and their agendas, you know, and that's the biggest thing that we have. That's the biggest thing that we lack is political continuity. Like, for example, the projects that Traore has going on right now, the next administration is supposed to continue those projects on into the future and so forth and so on. Each administration is supposed to build upon what the past administration left behind, right? But when you're focused on getting the guy out of power, nigga, election, nigga, can we build first? Can we get some projects in the works first? You know what I'm saying? Can we get some refineries and some factories and some goddamn agriculture popping? Can we, you know what I'm saying? Let's get to work first. You know, we can do elections after the fact, bro. Can we get this goddamn gold refinery off the ground first? Let's get some shit done first. Let's lay a foundation first, and then we can talk about democratic elections. But for now, we got to give him some time in power to execute upon his projects. Just like the people said, man, they said, listen, 2-3 years, it's not enough for these projects. They wanted 10 whole years. We need 10 years to get this shit off the ground. And speaking of getting projects off the ground, I seen the president of Mali meeting up with Seydou Keita. Now, for those of y'all that, you know, you watch football, you know, soccer, as they say, you know, Seydou Keita, the former player for FC Barcelona. Yeah, he was meeting up with the president of Mali. They got a project in the works. I believe it's a factory worth over $20 million sitting on 7 hectares of land. And that's what it is, man. That's what it's about, man. Like I said, the diasporas of these countries have the capacity and the capability to get any project they want off the ground as long as they have the political will and the energy and the desire. But anyways, back to, you know, Black Conservative Strikes Back. You know, Black Conservative Strikes Back. You know, this dude over here, you know, like I said, always bootlicking, you know, the American Anglo-Saxon. Meanwhile, the American Anglo-Saxon couldn't even get the security issues under control when his troops were deployed in the Sahel. You know, spent years deployed in the region, spent years in West Africa, couldn't accomplish nothing. Your precious American military couldn't do shit in terms of going against the jihadists. Meanwhile, just last month, take a look up on the screen. Mali kills the Islamic State commander blamed for U.S. deaths. Yes, there's actually an Islamic State commander by the name of Abu Huzaifa who had a $5 million bounty on his head for killing multiple Americans. Meanwhile, the Americans couldn't even find him. They were looking high and low, looking under the couch, couldn't even find the motherfucker. Yeah, but the Malian armed forces in combination with the army of Burkina Faso and Niger, they found him and killed that stupid nigga. So either way it goes, man, like I said, you two in the horn, you backing that ass up for the West. Meanwhile, the West can't even do what they supposed to do. They don't even do what they said they gonna do. The black man gotta do that shit. The black man you denigrating and demonizing. You know, you niggas is done with this shit. But like I said, it's the black conservative hustle. We already know what it is. And since this man has such a passion for democratic elections, he has such a disgust for men who take power through military coups, how come he's never made a video on the president of Gabon who took power by military overthrow sometime last year? How come we've never seen the Western media attack this man in the same way they've attacked Ibrahim Traore relentlessly over these past several months? And in fact, not only have they never attacked him, he's actually due for a state visit to France very shortly. Take a look up on the screen. Business and security is on the agenda as Gabon's transitional president visits France. Gabon's interim president begins his first official visit to France this Tuesday with an entourage of several ministers and will be received by the president Emmanuel Macron at the Elysee Palace. On Tuesday, May 28th, 7 months after overthrowing his cousin, he is due to begin a 5-day official visit to France, culminating in a meeting with Emmanuel Macron at the Elysee Palace on Friday, where he will be received with military honors. Wow. Not only are they not attacking this man for taking power and bypassing democratic elections, but they are going to receive him in the West with military honors. Wow. On the 31st of August, the day after the coup, Oligui Nguema, that's the president of Gabon, received the French ambassador Alexis Lemic and the head of the French Secret Service as a sign of good faith. The transitional administration restored France 24 and RFI broadcast, that's the French media, that had been interrupted by the former government on the day of the election on the 26th of August. At the same time, the French company Eramet resumed its manganese extraction activities at the Moanda mine. Now we see why he was never attacked in the Western media, and now we see why he's due for a state visit to France, is because as soon as he got into power, the first person he met with was the head of the French Secret Service, and he restored the French media and allowed the French companies to continue extracting the resources. Listen, so we understand why Ibrahim Traore is under the spotlight, under the heat. But this dude right here is being received in the West with military honors. Wow. That's why it's not about democratic elections. It's about protecting interest. It's about the maintenance of interest. You know, intelligent black men understand what it is. It's all these bootlicking black men that got to kiss white ass that don't understand how the world works. But like I said, it's never been about democratic elections. It's never been about none of that bullshit. Because if that was the case, where is his video on President Paul Biya, who's been in power since 1982? democratically elected, darling of the West? Where is his video demonizing and denigrating and tearing him to shreds? I cannot find it. It's nowhere to be found. Where is his video on President Idris Deby, who was in power since 1991? And when he died, his son came into power back in, a few years ago, right? Where is his video? In fact, his son also was welcomed in France with military honors, right? President Macron was chilling with the military in Chad, but I thought it was about democracy. I thought it was about democracy, bro. Oh, it ain't about that for real. It ain't about that for real. Where was his video on the president of Togo, who's been in power since 2005, and his father was in power since 1967? Where's his video on President Museveni, who's been in power since 86? Where's his video on Paul Kagame, who's been in power for 24 years? Bro, you're a clown. You're a clown. I understand. Ibrahim Traore, listen, he's that guy right now. So it's instant views, instant clicks and likes as soon as you mention his name. But listen, stop chasing the algorithm. Just change your name to Black Conservative Strikes Back and stop the bullshit, man. We see right through the bullshit. You're not a Pan-Africanist. You're an American patriot. You're a good old boy, from the deep South. Your mama's from, Louisiana and Texas and things like that. And you love America, and that's fine, bro. And you love Western interests, and that's fine. That's cool. It is what it is. It is what it is. But, just stop calling yourself a Pan-African, though. You're an American good old boy. If it came down to it, you would take up arms to defend the United States against African nations. So we know what you are. We know what you are. You're no different than General Michael Langley. It is what it is. Anyways, man, it's your boy Neferkari Salim back in the Billy. Yes, indeed. Cash App up on the screen. Album out now. Check it out. Album out now on all platforms. Spotify coming soon, but everywhere else, all platforms. Check out my playlist section. We out, man. Peace.
Spending and get it back, never gon' get attached. Got shorty spinning back, changing my number. Stacking this paper, expanding my budget. Move like a prince when I'm stepping in public. Don't run up on me, they know I'm protected. Taking my power like fucking election. Young and I'm running shit like I'm Traore. March on my enemies like I'm immortal. March on my enemies, dance on their body. Having my baby, she wanna come ride it. Tell me she love me when I'm up inside it. Pain in my heart, I could really get violent. Pain in my heart and it's never gon' change. March on my enemies, blow out their brains. Young and I'm poppin', you know how we on it. Pick up my phone when that money be calling. Pick up my phone when that money be calling. Hang up the phone if they talking retarded. Gotta get mines, you know how we started. Shooting to kill when I go for my target. Back in the villain, I'm back in my bag. Know why they tripping, I know why they mad. Fuck how they feel, cause that's none of my business. Brand new Mercedes, you know how we living. Got shorty ride, she all in my Benz. Don't be surprised when that money come in. Look at lil' mama, she know she a 10. Comes to the crib and she told me come in. Stepping inside, make it rain, make it thunder. Hop on the jet, take a trip out the country. Changing my scenery, healing my pain. Can't see my face, but they know my name. Spending and get it back, never gon' get attached. Got shorty spinning back, changing my number. Stacking this paper, expanding my budget. Move like a prince when I'm stepping in public. Don't run up on me, they know I'm protected. Taking my power like fucking election. Young and I'm running shit like I'm Traore. March on my enemies like I'm immortal. March on my enemies, dance on their body. Having my baby, she wanna come ride it. Tell me she love me when I'm up inside it. Pain in my heart, I could really get violent. Pain in my heart and it's never gon' change. March on my enemies, blow out their brains. Young and I'm poppin', you know how we on it. Pick up my phone when that money be calling.